face I know, but I can never mention name to face my fault. But when I noticed it was far too late, you left a fingerprint on my soul.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a circuit that demands absolute precision, bravery, and just a little bit of luck. Tonight I'm your host, Sagar Bakshi. It is green here at the Miami Autodromo Internazionale. Side by side, there goes Sean Stan, the Stanman, and the 000 as well.
Papa Green made up 3 positions in 2 laps. With Leslie Simpkins now throws his elbows out at Druid.
Welcome to the Autodromo de Enzo y Dino Ferrari, also known as Imola. This is one of Europe's great old school battlegrounds where history, rhythm, and punishment all come packed into one narrow slip of Italian asphalt. Tonight, Sausage Dodgers Racing rolls into round 3 of the Porsche Cup Championship, and this is where the season starts to get serious. The opening round gave us the first look at who has pace, patience, and those who still have work to do. But Imola is a different test. In the Porsche cars, there's nowhere to hide. There's no easy recovery when the rear end steps out, and no forgiveness if you attack the curves without respect. From the heavy braking into Tamburello, to commitment through Acqua Minerale, the climb towards Variante Alta, every lap asks the same question. How brave can you be without crossing the line? This is a circuit that rewards precision, punishes impatience, and turns pressure into mistakes. Track position will matter, tire management will matter more, but above all, survival will be paramount. Because around Imola, one small error can turn a championship night into damage control. Round 3 is here. The Porsche Cups are here. Sausage Dodgers Racing is live from Imola. Thank you very much for joining, folks. Thank you very much for staying tuned. As always, it's a pleasure to take you from green to checker flag. I'm your host, Sagar Bakshi, on behalf of the Sausage Dodgers Racing Barum Engines Porsche Cup. Welcome to round 3 here at the Imola Grand Prix, the Autodromo Enzo y Dino Ferrari, 4.86 kilometers long. 19 corners, 8 to the right, 11 to the left. It's going to be a challenge for drivers to get through Bologna, Italy, with 111 feet of elevation change. Couple of keys to the race for the sausages out there: respect the curves being one, brake straight, rotate clean, because the car rewards discipline under braking. Cars are going to need to get rotated pitch perfectly. Patience in traffic, because Imola is narrow, technical, and difficult to pass cleanly. Expect to see drivers run into some traffic around the racetrack. Key number 4, keeping the tires alive, because the Porsche Cup is asking a lot of the rear tires, especially on corner exit. It's going to be a challenge for drivers to not have wheel spin out of Tosa, Acqua Minerale, and Revazza. Let's take a look at the championship points and where the drivers lie. Right now is Jean Comte in the lead with 102 points in front of Miguel Toledo, 98. Lewis Butler in third, Mert Menderes in fourth. Noah Osbadels no longer with us, RIP. Mark Richards gets promoted to fifth. Kevin Sur in seventh. Mikhail Surov, Leslie Simpkins, and Paul Cook round out our top 10. Jacob Jenner, Oscar Corbett, Jack McCarthy, Alberto Casado, Marchenko, Wazowski, Yakan, Beaton in the top 18. Further down, it's Butler, Clark, Ewers, Maston, Timsey, Darsh, Marshall, Hines, Piper, DeJong. In a 28th and below, Kovalek, Kozak, Bevudas, Mofat, Williams, Fairweather, Visconi, Ansel, and then a couple of DNSers. Here's a driver trying to stitch a lap together. So far, hasn't got it done just yet. So quite a bit of work to do for the number 35 driver on their last attempt right now, with just about 2 minutes remaining. Can Lewis Butler find the time that he needs? .143.3 from Johan, excuse me. Let's see if Butler got anything done. Butler across the line, no doing there. Start at the back of the pack, it seems. Leo Kovalev, though, crosses the line, finds his way up to P5. Tim Williams across the line, good enough for P14 with a 145.266. Butler, Lloyd finds P17 at the end of the qualifying session. That's Uncle Lloyd Butler to you folks. Jack McCarthy finding P20 just in the nick of time as he crosses the line. One more attempt for Jack left. Only 4 drivers remain in this qualifying session. Let's see what Butler can do to advance his run. Good run through Variante Alta, the high chicane. McCarthy, 145.488 across the line. Good enough for 16th position. Finds himself with a couple other sausages. And Simon Darsh there amongst them. Alberto Casado there in the number 7. 1 second gap separating the top 7 right now, but less than a tenth between the front 2. It'll be a fight at the front for sure. Let's see what Uncle Lloyd can produce when he crosses the line. 145.65 at the end of the day will keep him in 18th place. Take a quick look at the results Vicente in P1, Menderes in P2, Toledo in P3. Gonna triple whammy this one. Take a quick look at the grid. Vicente and Menderes line that first row. Alongside them will be Toledo and Jean Comte in P2 and P3. Kovalev in P5 and P6 going the way of Mark Richards. 7th for Fairweather and Surov. 5th row going Vladislav Marichenko and Habatov. Tim Zick and Klowarek on row number 6. Row number 7 for Oscar Corbett and Tim Williams. A couple sausages on lucky number 7. Alberto Casado caught in the middle between those sausages, and Jack McCarthy's charged through the field. Simon Darsh and Lloyd Butler on row number 9. Following that on 10th row, Bevudas and James Piper. Row number 11 for Nick Ewers and Mika Santa Elena. Row number 12 for Sam Marshall and Noah Osberdelson did take to the grid tonight, apparently. Louis Butler and Svank Sur and Mustafa Yakan and Thomas P. Hines. Kasper Wazowski following things out in P29, and that'll do it for our grid, folks. Waiting for Barney to hold that green flag in the air. Drivers rev their engines and get ready to go. Green, green, green. Here we go for Sausage Dodgers Racing round 3. Looks like a good start through the field all the way down in towards turn number 1. The 31 is late on the brakes. Is he going to make that move stick? He does. At Tamburello, he finds the daylight, and there is carnage further back. How do we take a look at that? We're going to keep our eyes glued here to this amazing battle between the 691 and the 31. The 88 of Joan Comte tries to get involved as well, but loses a little bit of ground to the 691. That's Mert Menderes trying to defend everybody from behind. This is a Porsche debacle right now as everybody tries to find real estate on which way they can run. Mark Richards and Isaac Fairweather, the Australian, number 18 now, finding a little bit of daylight in front of Richards, and that is a good-looking livery. We're going to have to get a look at that one here. Number 18, yeah. Starry Night turns into absolute disaster for Richards and the 18 as the 420 and the 18 both go into the wall. And the 18 is going to be immobile there and have a long trip back down to pit road. Mustafa Yakan. Oh no, Vicente's iRacing crashed, we were just being told. Big slip up there from the 81 Kevon Sur. Having a big slip up, a little slip, trip, and fall on the race start. Coming out of the final final corner of Hrvatsa. Here's Oscar Corbett and his attempt to charge through the field. Oh no, Tim Williams at the exit of Tamburello finds himself making sweet, sweet disasterly love with the barriers, and same can be said for Uncle Lloyd Butler, who has a little slip, trip, and fall there. Oscar Corbett continues his conversation with Kevon Sur. Number 81 is up 15 positions right now. Absolutely phenomenal stuff from the young blood. 998 tries to defend as best as possible from the 81, but to no avail. The outside turns to the inside, and Corbett loses the traction, getting out onto the slippery edge of the curb. Battle for the lead still involves Toledo, Menderes, and Johan Comte. The trio separated by just about nothing. Will the dynamic duo work together to try to thwart Mert Menderes' efforts on the here and now? Running up the hill to the top of the key. This is going to be Piratel, the Pirates' corner. Absolutely phenomenal drive from this trio right now. Last lap, fast lap, coming in 1:44.49, and I have a feeling like they're about to do something a little bit faster. Butler, in his attempt to recover some points tonight, has Jack McCarthy in his crosshairs, looks to the inside line at Ravazza and mounts the sausage there for the Nova Motors Esports team, and he'll get that one done and dusted. For a driver who couldn't get anything done in qualifying, he sure is getting it done on the racetrack now. James Piper going wheel to wheel with Simon Darsh. The battle for 15th and 16th place is alive and well. Across the stripe, we're going to go side by side. The 999 has the unfavorable line, and the 420 ahead is going to be a roadblock for the dynamic duo right now, because he's got a lot of damage. We saw that bumper bobbing in the wind, and a big slide for that 999, but can he recover? Piper has hands of a cat. He's able to catch himself as he falls from a 3-story building, basically. Holy Toledo. Speaking of Toledo, Toledo's in the lead, Miguel. So, Toledo is in the lead of the race. Oh no, Uncle Lloyd with another mistake. Here it comes. Noah Osbaldeston with a missing hood. Not sure what's going on there. I definitely think that would have been worthy of a pit stop for Osbaldeston at this point, but he knows better than I do. Tim no, this is Lewis Butler and Oscar Corbett. Now Corbett sees the position at Ravazza 1, not losing too much time on the attempt. Can't believe Vicente's iRacing crash at the start of the race. Absolutely tragic. Svanxor here going wheel to wheel with Marchenko. No! And the 81 goes around. And we'll let the stewards deal with that one. Lewis Butler back on the charge, finds his way into the top 10. And there goes the 999 with a little bit of a track cut in front of the 81. Vladislav Marchenko finding himself engaged in combat with that number 35 here at Ravatsa. Lewis Butler gets it done again and again. '76 of Marchenko under attack from the 264. What about James Piper and Mark Richards? That wounded bird of Richards falling prey to the 999 here shortly. Alberto Casado chases down the leader, Tim Williams, in the battle for 18-19 right now. Couple of wounded cars out there. Remember, this is only heat 1 of 2 heats coming up tonight. So stay tuned for the feature race to come up in just a few minutes. Simon Tarch. We don't call him Big Simon for nothing. He goes a little defensive coming into Villeneuve. Trying to posture himself just a little bit carefully now. And the 81 presents the open door opportunity. Doesn't need to be invited twice to the conversation and just goes ahead and runs with it. Casado and Williams getting a little feisty at Tosa. Up the hill to Piratella. Tim Williams is going to have a huge disadvantage on the outside, and that's going to send him into the grass even. And now he's going to skirt across the runoff road with just the slightest touch with Alberto Casado. We'll call that one a racing incident. All the meanwhile, Johan Comte has been able to get around Mert Menderes. James Piper now trying to cross things up with Simon Darsh and Oscar Corbett and Jack McCarthy trying to tussle with each other. They have Andrzej Timzik up the road. Will they tussle or will they play nice? Only 7 minutes left on the clock. I think it's time the gloves come off between teammates. Noah Osbaldeston was involved in a big one. That's going to send him down the order, unfortunately. Here's James Piper and Simon Darsh's exchange. .143.0. New fast lap of the race going to Jean Comte. As I said, will the two teammates work together or have the gloves come off? And that would be Lewis Butler, the number 35 in 8th position. I believe going back to pit lane. No, that's Noah Osbaldeston, excuse me. The Nova Motors esports driver. I knew I recognized the livery. Toledo in the lead, but not for long. Papaya rule, says Kiko Mike. Tim Williams and Fairweather and Ewers. This trio get a little too spicy for my liking. Tim Williams gets 2 positions done, gets the Ewers and Fairweather positions. Up ahead, we knew Oscar Corbett was mounting an attack on Jack McCarthy. He gets that one done here at the high chicane. Butler in his climb back up into the top 10 has found P7 tonight. As Mustafa Yakan behind though. And Mustafa is up 19 positions versus Lewis's 18 right now. Tim Williams getting elbows out with Isaac Fairweather, as Fairweather gave Tim a little shove there through the kink of turn number 1. And just 2 laps remaining. 3/10 separate the leaders now. Battle for the lead stays spicy as we approach the penultimate lap. Mikhail Surhov trying to get something done while he can. Lewis Butler a little too slippery though. One lap remaining. When the leader crosses the line, Miguel Toledo has to just do it one more time. And then the celebrations will be his for heat number 1. And then we have heat number 2 coming up shortly thereafter. White flag in the air from Barney the Flagman. Is this going to be the move for the lead coming through the kink? It'll be single file line. Toledo, Comte, Menderes. There's a late move. And a stern defense from the 31 on Johan Comte. Around the outside did not work for Johan, but he did have to try anything he could do. Here we go. Miguel Toledo is going to cross the line and be in P1 in doing so. Comte in P2, Menderes in P3, and Kovalev is going to bring it home in P4. Butler in 5th, Havatov in P6, and Surov in P8. Simon Darch is still in a little bit of a battle with Jack McCarthy. They both go a little too deep at Ravazza, outbreaking themselves. Ravazza 2, the battle still continues to the line, the 2-4 in front of the 4-4. Getting the last of the drivers to cross the line. I'm going to give a big shout out and thanks to all of our Patreon subscribers. Thank you so much. If you're interested in supporting the stream, scan that QR code on the screen right now. It goes directly to keeping the lights on here for Sausage Joggers Racing. If you want to get involved with Sausage Joggers Racing, scan that QR code in the bottom right hand side of your screen. I'll take you to our SimGrid, and you can join our Discord. Here are the results from heat number 1, the Barum Engines Porsche Cup. Toledo came in with a win. Comte and P2, Menderes in 3rd. 4th went to Kovalev, Lewis Butler in 5th, Ivatov in 6th, Surov in 7th, Yekan in 8th, Marchenko, Timzik in 10th. James Piper, Jack McCarthy, Simon Darsh, Arbola Casado, Mark Richards, Fairweather, Tim Williams, Nick Ewers, Casper Wazowski, and Kostas Berbudas, rounding out the 20 participants. And we had many more than that. Lloyd Butler, Thomas P. Hines, Bruno Kolaric, Daniel Vicente, Sam Marshall, Oscar Corbett, Savant Soar, and Noah Osbodell surrounding things out. And a big shout out and thanks to our title sponsor tonight, Barum Engines, for classic and competitions engines. Look no further than reaching out to Barum Engines. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back, folks. Don't go anywhere. What a heat we just had. And now we get to run it back at twice the length this time. Reverse grid format coming at the drivers is going to lead to a lot of changes in strategies. No longer will drivers be able to just run fast, clean laps. They're going to have to carve their way through the field. Warm-up finishing up. Let's take a look at our starting grid. Holy Toledo, it's raining. Andres Timjik, Vladislav Marchenko, Yekan, and Serhov. Row number 3 for Hebatov and Lewis Butler. Row number 4 for Kovalev and Menderes. Row 5 Tuesday and Toledo. Piper and Jack McCarthy on row number 6. Row number 7 for Simon Darge and Alberto Casado. Mark Richards and Isaac Fairweather. Mika Helena and Tim Williams on row number 9. Row number 10 is for Ewers and Casper Wazowski. Row number 11 for Bevudas and Boyd Butler. Number 12, Thomas P. Hines and Marino Cloaric. Row number 13 for Daniel Vicente and Sam Marshall. We're ready to go green, folks. Green, green, green. And Andrej takes off like a rocket ship, but so is that 35 in the background. Lewis Butler is going to force the issue 3 wide in the rain on dry tires. Finds a way to make his way into the lead of the race. Somehow, some way, it's cleaner than before. But who's that in the background? That might be Daniel Vicente. It is. Race 1 didn't go his way. Race 2 is even going worse. The selection of tires for the drivers is scattered. Lewis Butler tramples into the distance. 3 seconds is the advantage right now on the dries. The drivers on the wets squabbling for position right now and potentially overheating their rubber. Mark Richards is the driver that decided to pick the dries, and that's playing advantageous for him right now. Mert Menderes also on the dries, getting caught up in the drivers with wet weather selections. Mustafa Yakan, the next driver up on the chopping block. Those dries are working fairly well, but for how long will that be the preferable choice? Oscar Corbett in more trouble. He's got Thomas P. Hines alongside him. Corbett's up 7 on his run in the 998. Gets by Hines. Tim Williams gets by Savant Soar, at least attempts to at turn number 1. Solidifies the deal at turn number 2, but that's not over yet. Savant Soar is trying to find the long way around the outside at Variante Tamburello. But to no avail as he slips a little bit further back, and there's a big mistake, and someone didn't hold their brakes. Oh, man. Couple of drivers involved in that one. Oh, you can just see the carnage. Here's Osbadelston. Let's see if we can get... Real incident here is 2x2, goes 3 wide. Marino Cloaric is there, gets into Osbadelston, and then Osbadelston rolls back, and then, yeah. Oof. Glad I'm not a steward. That's a tough one to decipher. Rain still pattering down. Drivers on the wets performing around 14 seconds slower that opening lap. Great recovery drive for Richards. Good move here for the 87 of Helena. Again, another driver on the dries trying to pick their way through the field. Andrej following prey to Johan Comte. On the wet tires, though, they're equally matched as far as setup goes. Fairweather in a little bit of an attacking mood right now, as Mert Menderes is locked in his crosshairs. Both drivers on the dries. Mert Menderes is no slouch in his own right. He's going to defend this as fair and as hard as possible, but Fairweather chops the nose off of Mert. At the end of the day, Mert can do nothing to defend that move. Haybatov here with Toledo, but I have a feeling like Toledo is going to pull out all the stops and gap the field behind. A little late to turn in, forces the 36 to the bump and run. Haybatov tracking like a train right now behind the number 31. Has definitely picked up the pace and learned a thing or two behind Toledo. Sam Marshall alongside our good friend Simon Darsh. The 404 and the 44 get together at the high chicane, but the 404 comes out on top. Marshall's up 3. A little bit of a mistake there for Hines, and that'll be advantage for Osbaldeston as he gets one done, but Osbaldeston has some serious damage on that Porsche. I doubt he'll be able to recover it to anywhere decent. Marino Cloharic in his recovery drive as well is still up 14 positions now as he gets past Haybatov. Sivaksor, in his pursuit for his top 10, looks at the inside line at Jack McCarthy's A Ravazza Apex just darn near stolen by Savank. 81 really doing a good job of fighting with Jack here. Down the front straight into turn one, Savank has the advantage. Bavudus might be a little too deep. That allows the 187 of Leo Kovalev to get 2 free positions as both the 404 and the 888 make mistakes there. Oh, Vladislav Marchenko at Tosa by the looks of it. Let's check the weather. The track conditions still mostly dry. Well, we are in overcast conditions. Expect the surface to get wetter and wetter. Johan chases down Marino Kloarek. And that orange and gray liveried car looks forward to that battle, but right now it'll be Marino Kloarek and Mustafa Yakan. Andrej, and that 264. Hebatov continues to throw his elbows around. James Piper, though, having none of that, is able to get by both Simjic and Hebatov into deep. A little touch there from the 36 forces a 3 wide situation. Nearly went awry, but everyone keeps it calm, cool, and collected. Let's check out what's happening to our good friend Uncle Lloyd. He's got Miguel Toledo locked up. Uncle Lloyd tussles with the wrong driver. There's an off ahead. That's Mustafa Yakan. May have slightly tussled with the wrong character, but makes it work at the end of the day. Now the real challenge begins for those that have picked the wet weather tire.
Can they keep them cool enough to last them this entire stint?
Mark Richards, hold the phone, finding P2, having to go defensive now against Isaac Fairweather. Mort Madero is being dragged into this conversation. This is going to be live for the battle of P2 and P3. Big off there. I think that's one of the sausages, the number 19. Kasper Wazowski, and a big slide for the 420 into the high chicane, and so does the 19 in sympathy. Kasper Wazowski and the 420 go over the curbs. That leaves Fairweather and Menderes to duke it out at Ravazza. To turn one, narrowly slipping in front of Mert. Isaac Fairweather throws it down. Spray starting to become a thing. Track becoming a little bit more saturated. Track definitely evolving at the high chicane, catching out a few drivers. Through and through Ravazza, wheel to wheel between the duo here, and they're going to slip and slide their way out of Ravazza too. Nose to tail, but straight into the wall for the 36. Haybatov. Let's go back over to Mert Menderes and Fairweather. Let's see how much spray is becoming a factor now. And how much sliding Menderes is doing. Run into Aqua Minerale looks promising for Menderes, but he's losing too much ground to Fairweather ahead. Pit lane comes alive with Butler, Clark, and Marshall making that decision here at the 19-minute mark. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, get notifications for when the Sausage Dodgers go live next. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. British Standard Time, or just about noon Pacific Standard Time. Marchenko looking for a move, but the 691 of Menderes gets the move done on Nick Ewers. Traffic giveth and traffic taketh away. All in the same breath, right? What about Timzik? What about Marchenko? Everybody back here is in a little bit of trouble as the battle packs continue to form at the halfway point. R2D2 in the chat saying he wanted to dance under the rain. Well, here's your opportunity to dance, my friend. Couple of drivers making excursions. Ben Georgiev, hello, my friend. Thank you very much for being here, as always, Ben. .36 and the 187, not on the same lap. Where is... I'm looking for him. Kasper Wazowski. Little story to share. So Kasper reached out to the stream asking us for a quick favor, guys, and I think we can do a little bit to support him. He's running the London Marathon in 2027 to raise money for Heart UK, the cholesterol charity. His dad recently suffered a cardiac arrest, but thankfully he's doing well and recovering now. Kasper is just looking to raise some awareness and collect any donations the community can spare. We're giving a shout out to Kasper, what he's doing at the marathon, and trying to raise awareness to cholesterol awareness. So if that's something you want to get behind, go ahead and scan that QR code. And let's go ahead and support Kasper Wazowski get to the finish line in more than one way. Yeah, Ben, great races. Pit stops becoming alive, and here comes Kasper. Butler in the lane and taking service, taking tires. Be on wets for the remainder of this stint. Track surface still just very lightly wet, but enough moisture on the ground for Butler to pick up the wet tires. Toledo and Darsh here. Could it be a battle for position between the 31 and the 44? Darsh with gains today. Marino Kolaric next up in Toledo's life. Toledo on the wets gains one position now this evening and has served a pit stop. Beautiful race, tons of excitement this evening. Definitely not what I had on my bingo card today. Sewer and Butler. And that'll be Noah Osbadelson in the background getting by Uncle Lloyd. Osbadelson trying to find a way by Kavak. 81 defending into Aqua Minerale might serve him an opportunity to attack the 264 on exit. He does, but forces the 264 out to the kitty litter, and that 264 is going to be a little disappointed on the run there. What can drivers do in the final 12 minutes of this event? Everybody except for Helena right now on the wets, and that's exactly why I was wondering what was going on. The track is very moist at this point. So as things cycle out, it's Fairweather in the lead in front of Butler, then Menderes and Mark Richards on the lead lap. Helena comes down pit road. Osbadelson chases down Kivak. But Soar, no doing there. Osbadelson back into the top 10 somehow. Mert Mendera's in with a meatball flag. Trying to see what happened to Mert. Oh, and just catches out Simon Darsh there, and that will be race-ending damage for Menderes. Well, I say that was race-ending damage, but with that fast repair and good strategy calls, he cycles out to P4 at the end of the day. Less than 9 minutes left to go. Let's hear your predictions about who's going to come out on top tonight. Could be anybody's ball game. Vasov Marchenko and Andrej Timzik. 264 and the 76 go wheel to wheel, headed down in towards turn 1. And turn 2 is where things become settled. The 76 leads the 264. Lewis Butler is apparently catching at right around 3/10 per lap. It says he'll catch in around 6 or 7 laps. Toledo going wheel to wheel with Kavak and dragging in Noah Osbadelson into the mix as well, as Toledo tries to garnish a number of points tonight. Can he get back-to-back wins? I think that's going to be a few wishes too many, with just about 5 laps left to go by the timer. Just a few more minutes left on the clock. Marino Cloaric in the mix with Butler as well in the background. But this one right here is going to be important because this is the battle for the lead, including Isaac Fairweather and Lewis Butler, and traffic getting involved. Butler gaining ground by heaps, especially on that last lap. Gained 2 and a bit seconds on the previous occasion. Nose to tail coming through the first chicane. What about coming into the second? Side by side, the 35 decides to send it. Tries to go for a switchback, but the real estate was occupied by the 18. Butler finally into the lead of the race here at Tosa. Tries to park it on the apex, but there's a sausage dodger there on the inside line that needs to be avoided, and everybody does so safely. What can Fairweather do to close down on Butler? Osbaldeston in his hunt for redemption tonight has to duke it out with the 81 of Kavak Soar. Across the stripe, Butler's going to lead us in front of Fairweather. And just up the road from there is the battle between Soar and Osbaldeston. Through turn 1, they're going to touch into the braking zone of turn 2. It's going to be a little dicey in the wet. Fairweather about 0.6 slower than Butler last time around. And the gap continues to expand between Fairweather and Lewis Butler. Big mistake there from Savak, but he's able to catch it and recover in front of Osbaldeston. That's going to hurt his drive coming out of the chicane. Osbaldeston into P6 now. Into Ravazza, Osbaldeston goes for a nasty switchback. Onto the brakes early, but can't get that one done in time. Barney's waving the white flag for us, so you know what that means, folks. Over to Lewis and Fairweather into the braking zone of turn 2. The 35 slaughters the sausage curbs. So does Fairweather. Fairweather's pushing a little too hard as he goes a little sideways at the second chicane of Villeneuve. But now, potentially overdriving is Lewis Butler himself. Butler goes way too wide at Piratella. Go on board with Butler because he's got the fighting Osbadelston in front of him, and you don't want to have two teammates come together on the last lap. Butler didn't have the greatest of races in the first heat. Now redemption calls his name. It'll be the finish for Lewis Butler and Fairweather as they cross the line, but Osbadelston and Soar are going to continue their bout into turn 2. Sparks flying from the underbelly of the Porsche Cups. Soar ahead of Osbadelston. Nick Ure making a mistake at the high chicane. Mikhail Surov gets that one done. Toledo, Yakan, Kovalev, Marchenko, Butler, and McCarthy all cross the line. Let's get the unofficial results posted here in just a second. Butler took the win in front of Fairweather and Mark Richards in third. Hard Charger going to Vancouver. Lewis Butler with the most laps led. Mort Medeiros coming home in fourth. James Piper in fifth. Zvank in sixth. Noah Osbadelston, Toledo, Yakan, Kovalev, Marchenko, Marino Kloarek, Lloyd Butler, McCarthy, Timjik, Surov, Ewers, Hebutov, Hines, Kasper Wazowski, Sam Marshall, Simon Darsh, Kostas Bavudas, Casado, Compte, Vicente, Williams, and Corbett round out to 28. We have a couple drivers ready to talk to us. Let's talk to Mark Richards first.
Oh.
And we'll talk to Mark Richards first and foremost and hear about his race. Mark, how'd your race go for you tonight?
Hi, Zach. Yeah, very good. Yeah, the first race wasn't ideal. I got rear-ended quite early on, suffered engine damage, lost loads of pace, and then in the second race, tire gamble kind of paid off well. Started on dries when the majority of the field were on wets, and that was really the winning strategy.
It was a great gamble for sure. It could have caught you out and played you the fool at the end of the day, but when you look this good on the racetrack and when you perform, 15 seconds faster on that opening lap, you're bound to make up a few positions, right? So what was your deterministic goal in that first stint, knowing that you were on a different strategy than everybody else?
Just make it as far as you can, build up as much of a gap as you can. The wet tires are not going to be as quick as the dry tires, so very important just to build a gap. And then when you take the wets, hopefully you've like it worked out perfectly in the sense where we completed the full stint of fuel. But if we had to pit early, then we would have had to have built up a decent enough gap that early pit and a secondary splash later wouldn't have lost us any position. But as it happened, it was perfect.
Absolutely perfect conditions for racing here tonight. Mark, is there anybody you'd like to shout out or anybody you want to thank tonight?
Yeah, I just want to shout out the Sausage Dodgers, and I'll shout out Jill as well. She always watches these and cheers me on, so it's nice.
Right on. Thank you very much, Mark. Have a great night, brother, and stay safe.
Thank you.
Next up, we'll grab Mert Menderes into the broadcast booth. Mert, you had a roller coaster ride of a race. What about for heat number 2, though? Your run ended with pretty much a drive-through penalty after that meatball flag.
No, it's not a drive-through. It was a meatball, and the car was gone. I'm looking at it, and I was lapping a car, and on the straight, he just decided to steer into me. I'm not here to beef. I'm just saying that was interesting, and that cost me, luckily, only P3, but it's still very, very, very annoying, indeed.
Understandably so, but still at the end of the day, your championship is looking pristine with your, results tonight. You had some pretty good battles out there on the racetrack. Anything that we may have missed, maybe?
Not really. First in the first heat, I was basically third fastest, barely slower than P1 and 2, the teammates, who drove really well, I have to say. And then the second race, it was funny because P8 downwards after 2 laps were all on wets, and we all gapped them by 40, 50 seconds, and the switch between dry to wet was very convenient for us as well, because literally the indication that it was the wet tire session has been called literally the next lap after we stopped, so it was very convenient, which makes me losing P3 even more annoying, because it was just so out of nowhere. I was faster than Mark, I was slower than Isaac, and yeah, it's just so annoying that you lose a race like this.
Is there anybody that you'd like to shout out or anybody that you'd like to thank, Mert?
Yeah, shout outs to S1 Esports again. A nice team, lovely members, and all the competitors. I think the race was, at least up front, between the top 5 or so, was very clean and lovely. So I hope we get to see more of that and less of the 4Xs and crashes.
Certainly. Thank you, Mert. Have a good night, my friend.
Yeah, bye.
Next up, we will talk to, who do we want to talk to next? Let's talk to Miguel Toledo. Mr. Toledo! How are you doing, my friend?
Hey, quite good, quite good. I was talking with the other drivers on the other chat.
Yeah.
Quite good.
Let me in on the conversation. What's going on over there? Some drama
I was
unfolding?
yeah, well, a little bit of crime, but nah, no worries. I was talking to Luis, the second race winner, because I was asking him if he was with wet setup, because I can't drive. I can drive with my setup on the second race.
it looked like a challenge for everybody out there. You know, those that picked the dry tires on that first stint all grouped up together. But I think you started the race on wet tires. Is that correct?
Yeah, I started panicking with the rain at the start of the race. I was talking with my teammates, and they say, "Wet tire, wet tire, wet tire," and I went wet tire, and it was a mistake. But well, it's just another race.
Agreed. Just another race and a good showcase of your discipline and skill to be able to recover back to P8 at the end of the day. Is there anybody you want to shout out or anybody you want to thank in the number 31 today?
Well, the same guy that than the other day, Danny Vicente, who is racing today. He got the pole position and then he crashed. He got crashed, so he can't start on the first race. And he's doing all the setups, so thanks to him.
Right on. Thank you very much, Mr. Toledo, for joining us. Have a great night, my friend.
Thank you too. Have fun.
You
See
too.
you.
Bye-bye. Next in, we'll pull in Mr. Fairweather and Isaac, a newcomer to the championship, rocking a pretty sporty livery out there tonight. Had his fair share of battles on the evening. Isaac, how are you doing on the evening?
Well,
it's morning where you're
better.
at.
No, it's 21:49 for me. I'm in the United Kingdom.
Ah, okay then.
I could be doing better because I could have won the race, but I'm happy with a debut with a P2.
Not too shabby at all. How was the grid? How were the fights out there this evening?
It was good. I mean, not really much happened to me. I had an incident on the first race. I just misjudged how slow someone would be on the exit of Aqua Minerale and rear-ended them, and then they spun and then spun into me, and then got sent into the barrier. So that was unlucky. But in race 2, that was more fun because I love the rain.
Yeah, it definitely looked like it was fun. Looked like it was a challenge. I'm more of a wet-ish racer myself, so the conditions were absolutely pristine for a car like me. But on your debut here for the Sausage Dodgers Racing, any thoughts, feelings, or shout-outs that you'd want to give?
I'd like to give a shout-out on Louis' behalf to my wheel deck, because it decided I wanted to do a rapid disassembly during the race. So I currently can fly it like it's a plane or something. I've got forward, back, up, down, all those axes, up as well as left and right. So I want to give a shout out on Louis' behalf to my wheel deck.
Right on, sir. Thank you so much for joining us in the broadcast booth. Thank you very much for supporting the Sausage Dodgers, and we hope to see you next time, sir.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too, my friend. Next up, we'll talk to Lewis Butler. And Lewis had a roller coaster of a ride for race number 1, able to come back for heat number 2. How was it, Louis?
That was honestly the best race of my life. That was insane. Obviously, I had a quali ban from an incident after the race on the last one. So yeah, I started in P25, and all it was damage limitation. So yeah, there was a massive wreck at the start. I had to sacrifice a few positions going across the gravel trap and things to avoid that. But yeah, as soon as I got through that, it was literally just hot lapping straight to the end, trying to recover the race pretty much. Yeah, that was insane. And then on the second race, it literally just started raining, and I knew that people were going to go on the wets. But if it's only light rain, then it's going to take a whole stint for it to actually be the crossover point. So I started in P8, and I basically just was P1 after turn 1. The wets had literally no grip because there was no standing water on the track. So I was in P1, and there was a few incidents with a few back markers trying to get through. Obviously, they're on the wet tires, and had to pit a lap early because I was running out of fuel. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it, so that gave Isaac the jump because the dries were still an awful lot faster. But yeah, it was basically foot to the floor as soon as it started raining. when I pitted for wets, and yeah, managed to get him on the second to last lap. So that was pretty rewarding.
Sounds like you had a tremendous time tonight, Louis. Congratulations on the win. Is there anybody that you'd like to shout out or anybody you want to thank?
I just want to thank everybody that watches. Obviously, want to thank you and the admins, things like that. Obviously, putting on a show each week, and yeah, cheers.
Thank you, Louis. Have a good night, brother, and stay safe out there.
I knew. See you, Saga.
Thank you, folks, for joining us. Thank you very much for staying tuned. It's been a pleasure to be your host. On behalf of Sausage Dodgers Racing, I've been Sagar Bakshi, taking you from green to checkered flag. This has been the Barum Engines Porsche Cup. Check out Barum Engines Classic and Competition. Thank you very much, Barum, for your guys' support of the Sausage Dodgers community. We'll be back in 1 week's time for Porsche Cup, but don't go anywhere. We have more Sausage Dodgers action coming up this Thursday for the GT Endurance League. Thank you very much for joining us, folks. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Have a great night, and as always, stay safe out there. Bye-bye for now.